The power of a community. A great way to harness that power is through the process of community planning. My name is Brad Cornelius. I am a professional land use planner and vice president with Wade Trim Engineering in Tampa, Florida. And I'm happy to be here this evening to do a short talk with you all about the importance of community planning to make great improvements within your communities. So what is community planning? It's really bringing together the past, present, and future to set a future goal and vision for improvement and community opportunities within each of your communities. And we want to go from what we see there on the left, the way it was, to the future, which you see on the right. And what are those opportunities for our children and our grandchildren to be successful within our community? In terms of how do you do community planning, there's really no one right way to do it, but I believe there are four primary components to develop a very successful community plan. The first is identifying where are we now? What is our community currently? What is our neighborhood profile, our community profile? It's very important to understand where we're starting from. So that's that first part of the plan. The second part would be looking at our past. How did we get here? And where are we going if things don't change? So looking at those trends. What are those trends? What set those trends in motion? That's important to understand as we go and look to set our future vision, which is the next step, is where do we want to be or who do we want to be as a community into the future, and establishing that vision statement that defines a shared vision for our communities to improve and to provide greater opportunity for everyone within our community. And the last step is putting this all into action. What do we need to do to make this a reality? What are the steps that need to occur? What are the relationships that need to be made to assure that we are able to move forward to that vision of our community and get that community outcome that we want to happen? So by following that four-step kind of cookbook, that can help you develop a community plan for the success of your community. When I look at a community plan, I see five primary benefits. One is understanding the good and bad of your past, of a community's past. That's important to understand because things that went well in the past, you may want to continue. On the other hand, things that were not good, things that were bad, you want to most likely be sure that those don't continue. And what do you need to do to assure that those bad things don't continue? So it's important to understand the past. When we look at the current, understanding the community's current strengths and weaknesses, things internal to the community that make your community great, and things that make your community not so great, the problems within your community. And then also looking at the opportunities and threats. So things from outside of your community, opportunities from outside of your community to help you achieve that vision, or threats outside of your community that may hinder your vision. The next part is establishing internal and external relationships with the community. This is a people-based process. So the relationships is extremely important, both internal to community as well as external to the community. And the next one is the development of that shared vision of the future. As you go through this process, the folks within the community are able to develop this shared vision where we have a common goal that people are working towards. And that's a very important part of this vision. With people working together is much powerful than all of us working in separate directions. And finally, which I will say is really critical, and probably I will say the most critical component, is this is internally driven by the community. This comes from within the community. It comes from the people within the community. It's not something that's set upon the community from folks on the outside. People on the outside, local governments on the outside can provide the facilitation, the support, but the actual development of the plan and the actions and what needs to happen need to be supported by the community itself. So a community plan is only as good as the level of community input and community participation and support to that community planning effort. And an example of that is actually a project we recently completed over the last year in the city of Clearwater within the North Greenwood community, which is just north of downtown Clearwater. And this was a community-driven process. And these quotes that you see here on my slide reflect that. The first quote is from a city employee, assistant director, where the city recognizes that this is a community-led initiative. This was not led by the city, this was facilitated by the city, but it was led by the community, which was very critical to the success of this. The next two quotes you see are from folks of the community, from within the community, of the Clearwater Urban Leadership Coalition. And here, both of them recognize the importance that they are driving the process, where you see true change comes from the inside, and that the folks within the community are the one that bring about the change. It's not external, it's internal that brings about the change. And the last quote is the importance of community planning giving people hope. That is critical. That when people give up and they don't have the hope, that's when the problems really start to grow and become systemic. And with a good internally driven community plan, that provides hope because it's internally driven. It's driven by the people that want it to be successful within the community and provides for equity and opportunity for all as that occurs. To close this presentation, I just like to close it with this really nice short quote from Helen Keller, where it says, "Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much." I think that very much embodies a community plan. It needs to be something that's done together as a community that reflects the needs of all within the community. And that's why I believe this is a very good quote that really sums up the importance of community planning. So with that, I'm concluding my presentation. I greatly appreciate this opportunity to present this in this short time I have with you all. And I wish you all the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Thank you.